Hi, my name is Tia Harrell, and my pen name is Tia H. Ryder. And I have here with me Donna Williams, and she's my friend, beta reader, editor, and everything. She helps me with my books. I really appreciate it. So this is the This Love Is Real Chat 9, and we're going to talk about the This Love Is Real reboot. I originally wrote a couple of books in This Love Is Real novellas, so they were smaller books. And so I got a lot of feedback from my readers, and I also introduced Stranger in a Mirror. So a lot of the content changed with Stranger in a Mirror. So I decided, since I do have to rewrite the second book, I'll go ahead and update all the other books and make them longer. So make them into novels. So the first book is out right now. It's called This Love Is Real, Volume 1, Best Friends to Lovers. And that takes us through Terry and Sonia's relationship up until she gets bitten by a snake. I don't want to give any more details about it. So if you want to learn about it, you can go ahead and pick up the book now, available on Amazon. And I do have a question from one of my readers. I talked about some of my projects coming up, and this one is particular to the medical mysteries that I have coming up soon. She wants to know if I'm going to focus on the families and relationships, or am I just going to delve into medical mysteries? So I am going to touch base on a lot of the relationships as it affects their families with trauma and illness. What happens to the relationships between, wives, husbands, kids. So I will touch upon that once those medical mysteries get started. And also what I have in the works, I have This Love Is Real. There will be 4 books. The first book is Best Friends to Lovers, Volume 1. Second book is Stranger in the Mirror, Volume 2. Third book is Loving a Stranger, Volume 3. And then the final book is Forever Love, Volume 4. And Forever Love, we'll get to see the happily ever after. that
About time.
about time we'll get to see that. And so I have released also This Love Is Real Christmas season 2. Last year I wrote season 1, where we got to catch up with all our favorite characters during their lives during Christmas. And currently there's a season 2, and I'm updating all the characters, introducing new characters,
Mhm.
especially with the T&E Super Club, which we'll get to see comedians, singers, rappers, and that's gonna allow me to continue creating the This Love Is Real world to include entertainment. So we'll see This Love Is Real friends, where we'll see all these new characters, in their relationships, how they affect Sonia and Terry, what Terry and Sonia is going of what they're going to be doing in the future, since Ayana and Alex have joined the lab, and Sonia's mom is going to join the lab. So there's 4 surgeons and just Terry. And since the super club is open and she gets to perform with Kai and Haley and her mom and her dad, that's gonna pull her in 2 different directions. So we'll see how that plays out. But currently, they'll have 3 years to decide, what Terry's going to do. She'll probably still be involved, but with 4 different surgeons, they'll be able to tackle more, medical mysteries.
Mhm.
Any questions?
No questions about that. Um, the medical research part of it is interesting because we have surgeons,
Mm-hmm.
and surgeons typically like to do surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it, Sonia's mother is probably really close to retiring, maybe. She's been doing it for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it'll be interesting to see the transition
Mm-hmm.
if they decide to move from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Mhm.
and what kind of transition plan they're going to have for their Boston area facilities.
Mhm.
Um, that is kind of a concern for me, and what's going to happen with Granny. And
Mhm.
I know that Granny is dating,
Mhm.
but part of her dating is, she's awful close to Sonia.
Mhm.
We don't see her as involved in the life of the grandchildren,
Mhm.
or in this case would be her great grandchildren.
Mhm.
And so it'll be interesting how that comes to fruition, if
Mhm.
it does,
Mhm.
because I can't imagine Granny not wanting to be involved in the grandchildren's life in some capacity.
Right. I mean, she's still in Boston.
Right.
So they're gonna she's still gonna be based in Boston. So when Aiden goes down, he spends a lot of time with Granny, and she does see her grandchildren when they fly to Boston. She doesn't do too much flying because she's older. So, but they're gonna fly out to San Diego during Christmas, and then those answers will all get addressed during the
Right.
Christmas villa.
Because if her son and daughter-in-law move, then that's going to leave her in the Boston area by herself. And I don't see
With
Terry
great with her with her
with her
boyfriend
boyfriend,
family.
right?
Yeah,
But
with
I
her
can't
boyfriend's
see
family.
Terry and Sonia going out there that much to
Right,
visit,
right,
particularly if Sonia's parents move. So
right.
it'll be interesting to see how that all comes together.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is I was a little bit concerned with the supper club lineup.
Mhm.
I thought Haley was awful young to be involved in something on a weekly basis,
Mhm.
maybe monthly
Mhm.
or even quarterly, because
Mhm.
this kid
Mhm.
is awful young,
Yeah.
and she needs to develop.
Yeah.
In real life, I remember when I listened to Gerald Levert talk about how bad he wanted to be part of the music industry,
Mhm.
and his dad told him, "No,
Mhm.
you need to learn how it works first."
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
all the mistakes that we made with
Yeah.
bad contracts,
Yeah.
if you would wait and learn it all, not
Mhm.
just singing, but writing,
Mhm.
producing,
Mhm.
arranging,
Mhm.
learning the business side of it, you'll be a lot more successful.
Mhm.
And that's pretty much what he did. So I would love to see this kid,
That
you
that
know,
that's what she doing. That is what she's doing. If you notice how she's in there riding with Kai and Terry, and then she spends some time with CJ. So she's learning all of the business, and she only participates on Saturday afternoons. So it's once a week. And so that's what she does. That's what she wants to do growing up. So they're letting her get a taste of what the music business is, but it's only on Saturdays, Saturday afternoon. It's never during the week. She doesn't go to she goes to the studio with her mom once a week, but she's still allowed to be a kid. So you'll see that in the Christmas villa.
yeah, I would like to see her be more of a child, because at 7 years old, she's still a child.
Yeah, child
Um,
prodigy.
Yeah, but she's still a child, and,
Yeah,
when I think of other prodigies like Michael Jackson, the transition from a child prodigy into an adult was not good,
yeah,
and so, there are lots of pitfalls when these kids are not allowed to just be kids.
yeah, yeah,
You can nurture the talent and still give them, um, a smaller platform in which to develop their craft,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, but
yeah.
the emotional development is just as important,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
so,
That's why Terry and then they're taking them to North Carolina to Carowinds for a week. And I introduced her best friend Piper, and she spends a lot of time with Piper. So they're going to be decorating, Christmas. They're doing Christmas decorations with her friend Piper and have a sleepover.
Mhm,
So they
okay,
so they do kid stuff. Like CJ and all of the fathers are taking Aiden and all his friends to London. So they do boys trips and Terry and Sonia do girls trips. So they
Mhm.
do allow them to be kids. And so that's what I'm showing in the Christmas villa.
Okay. Okay. And same thing with Zoe, you know. I think what I'd like to see is a little bit more balance between the parents.
Hmm.
You know, we a lot of the parenting in terms of interaction with the kids focuses on what Terry's doing, and I'd like to see some focus on what Sonia's doing with them.
Yeah, Sonia's just coming out of postpartum depression. So,
Mhm.
I'm alluding a little to that. So Sonia's been kind of depressed for the last couple of months. That's why you don't see that much balance, and Terry has really stepped into it. So
Mhm.
you're starting to see Sonia come out of that. And so that's
Okay.
when you'll start to see more of the balance. You'll see it when they go to Carowinds. But yeah, I
Okay.
do allude to Sonia had postpartum depression. And so
Yeah.
she's been seeing they have a new psychologist because Terry and Raven have gotten really close. So and so she's going to see her psychologist and her mom and her wife. They all have been understanding, but she's just finally turned the
Mhm.
corner. And so that's when you start to see her get more involved.
Got it. Got it. Oh, and it'll be interesting um to watch how Terry finds balance because she's only one person and she can't write, produce, perform, cook, do medical mysteries, and all those other things, and still be a wife and mother, a daughter, a friend. That's a lot of juggling,
Exactly.
and hopefully that she
Exactly.
doesn't drop the ball.
Yeah.
Her she and her wife have already had enough trauma to last a
Mhm.
lifetime, so
Mhm.
they don't need any more trauma.
Yeah,
But these other relationships, um, I don't see her really having the time to nurture
right.
any other relationships other
Right.
than her family
Yeah.
for the most part. And Ayana, but not Ayana,
Hi.
Kai, but
Yeah.
Kai's her, adopted little sister.
Yeah, but you'll start to see that once I continue writing the Christmas villa because they're all
Hmm.
going to North Carolina, and so
Okay.
you'll see them with all of their friends and hanging out and having fun. So yeah,
Right.
Terry is going to come to a crossroads again because, like you said, she's balancing a lot. She
Yeah.
can't please everybody.
That's
Because
absolutely
Haley wants to perform with her wife wants her to do medical mysteries, her dad wants to do movies, and so
right.
she's gotta come to terms with it. But for the
And then
next
Aiden wants her to, participate in taking
his
him to
show,
practice and all these
yeah,
types of things,
yeah,
and then she's cooking with Zoe, and then there's the little one.
yeah,
So there's a lot going on,
yeah,
but I think that Sonia can pick up some of the slack with that.
yeah,
And the kids have to understand that, you have two parents. You
right,
don't just have one parent.
right,
And although Terry may be popular and fun and all of that and multi-talented, you have another mother that's loving and nurturing
right,
and it's fun in her own right. You just have to
right.
get to know that side of her.
Right, but yeah,
Mhm.
you'll start to see that because Sonia is finally getting back to herself. So
Yeah.
that's what you see. Sonia's going to start stepping in. She can't cook, so she can't pick up that slack, but
Mhm.
she can definitely start to help Aiden, and so that's going to be Aiden misses his mom because of the relationship they used to have, and so they don't have that. I mean, they have that type of relationship, but he doesn't he doesn't do anything with her like perform on stage or cook like with Zoe. So they
Mhm.
don't do anything like that. And so that's what he's kind of I'll say jealous because all they do is, I mean, they talk and they spend time together, but they don't necessarily do an activity together, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they don't have a lot in common.
Right.
However, they do have a special Sunday where they go down to the water and have
Yeah.
a little bit of a picnic, and they get to spend time. And so he has to understand that spending time takes different forms.
Yeah.
It's not always, oh, we have all these things in common,
Yeah.
but sometimes what you don't have in common helps the relationship because now you have things you can talk about,
Mhm.
and you can learn from each other,
Mhm.
you know. Um, and so she's interested in medicine or medical research, and it appears that he's interested in medicine. So
Mhm.
they do have something in common that
Mhm.
they can talk about,
Mhm.
and she can pick his brain about that. He can talk about what he's learning from his grandfather,
Mhm.
and his grandmother,
Mhm.
you know, who are both surgeons, and even his great grandmother,
Mhm.
who's been a nurse forever,
Right.
retired nurse now. And isn't she dating a doctor?
Mhm.
So, so there's a lot of medical people in his family, and his mother, one of
Mhm.
his moms,
Mhm.
is a surgeon. The other one is interested in medical research, so they can connect on that level, you
Mhm.
know. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Aiden and Sonia are definitely going. Their relationship is definitely going to grow with the medical research and doing
Mhm.
medical because he's definitely interested in following his mother and his grandfather's footsteps. So
Mhm. Mhm.
they definitely she's getting back in it because she's going to take him to the lab, but again she's just coming back to her own, so her and Aiden are going to start spending a lot more time together when they, she's going to help him understand medical terms and understand medicine like she did when she was younger. So
Mhm.
she's gonna give him a lot of the advice that she had
Mhm.
to go through as a child. So
Mhm.
you,
Right.
you'll see that.
And the research is just one arm of it. These
Right.
people are surgeons. They've
Yeah.
been pediatric surgeons
Yeah.
and others. And
Yeah.
so the medical field is huge,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Definitely.
for him not to be pigeonholed so young into one area or the other, but have that time to develop to
Yeah.
see what his real interests lie or
Yeah,
where
he
they lie.
definitely he definitely won't be pigeonholed into one particular area. So, and just
Mhm.
Alex and Jessica moved to San Diego, and Jessica went to work for Trinity because she still loves being a surgeon, but she
Mhm.
does develop medical, tools and books and stuff for kids. So,
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was interesting too. Um, that she is using her expertise to help little ones.
yeah. Yeah,
So yeah,
especially after she met Aiden and he was so interested in medicine and medical.
mhm,
And she was like, I wonder if other little kids are interested. So
mhm,
yeah.
and they probably
Mikey's
are.
not interested. Mikey's not gonna be a doctor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But they're
and
best friends.
and
Mike,
that's normal.
yeah,
Children don't always follow in the footsteps of their parents.
right.
They just don't.
Yeah,
They have their own mind, their own thing. I mean, so it's interesting that Terry and CJ have a lot in common, but she was interested in these things probably before she even met him.
right.
Okay.
Right,
And then her mama is a singer, but she was also an attorney.
right.
So she
Right.
was heavily involved in the law. And
Mhm.
so, she's been very eclectic in the fact that she is a businesswoman as well as a researcher and an entertainer.
Mhm.
So she's been able to marry all that and excel because of all the people in her lives that are doing all those different things.
Yeah, but
So,
but she's gonna have to choose.
well, she
Uh,
needs, well, the it seems like the whole supper club thing is kind of a hobby, a way to stay connected to
mhm,
fans, a
mhm,
way to stay connected to her daughter
mhm,
and her dad.
And
Um,
Kai and her mom.
right,
Yeah.
right. I see that more as a hobby, and at this point
Hmm.
in her life, maybe that's all she needs. I
Right.
mean, these people are independently wealthy. They
Yeah.
don't have to work.
They don't.
Um, and so I can see her just doing that as a hobby,
Yeah.
and the whole cooking thing. I
Yeah.
mean, that's part of the whole supper club as well,
Yeah.
developing recipes and help guiding the kitchen staff.
Yeah.
So she could put both of those things, her business acumen and all of that, into the same venue.
Right.
The
Right.
only other thing is, how does she back away from the whole commitment to medical research with her wife and do it in
Right.
a way with Sonia
Right.
feels like she isn't abandoning her.
Right. But it's been 8 years. So they've been doing medical research for a while now. So
Right.
so
Yeah.
Sonia kind of sees the writing on the wall. But
Yeah.
they have 3 years to discuss it and come to terms with it. Terry's still going to be involved because of her research background with medical research, but probably not so heavily because there are 4 doctors there now. So we'll
Mhm.
see how that plays out.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can't imagine that she would want to do that full time
Right,
given her other interests,
right. No,
you know, and probably more passionate, because it allows for more creativity, and creatives need to create or they're not gonna be happy.
right,
Um,
right.
but to understand that my wife and I can stay connected
Mm-hmm.
without us having to work up close and personal together.
Yeah, yeah. So they'll have some time to
Yeah,
figure out how that works for them. And
right,
they have
right.
4 kids, so
Yeah, yeah. But you
so
know what? Children, being involved in the lives of the children, you have to make certain that you don't lose sight of what's really important, and that's to maintain your relationship.
right.
Because kids grow up, they get
They,
their own lives, and then what?
they do.
You
They
know, if you've allowed your relationship to be second best, or you put it on the back burner for other things,
yeah,
you'll look around and you guys are moving away from each other
yeah.
instead of staying together.
Yeah, so you'll see them within those 3 years. That's why they're solidifying what they will be doing, especially with the kids, and they'll
Yeah,
carve out time for themselves. Like they'll
yeah.
bring back the nightly walks, and they'll bring back Friday night date night. Probably
Okay.
probably weekend instead of just Friday the whole weekend. So we'll see.
Oh,
They'll
okay.
start to develop traditions like they did when they had their birthdays. So
Okay, right. Before the kids came.
yeah, for the kids came. So we'll
Okay,
see them start to do that. So we'll
good.
we'll start to see that in the Christmas villa because they are going away for the
Right.
weekend. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'd like to see that. I'd also like to see, once we're done with the 4-book series, at the end of the 4th book, having an epilogue, and that epilogue will advance them to where all these different things come together. The
Mm-hmm.
kids are older, maybe not, the oldest ones are maybe 11,
Mm-hmm.
and we can see exactly how they were able to manage
Mm-hmm.
all the different aspects of their lives with their
Mm-hmm.
families, their kids, their friends, um, is as a really nice way to um, end that series.
Mm-hmm.
That they're in good space, they're headed in the right direction, all is well. So
Mm-hmm.
I like to see something like that, um, in the end of the 4th book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to tie up all the loose ends.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, but there'll still be the stories within the medical mysteries and
Yeah,
the other I'm thinking about doing a super club series where we get to see different artists performing in different relationships. So that would be ongoing because week
yeah,
after week they have new artists. So I'm thinking
yeah.
about having something like that.
Okay. For me personally, it's their love story.
Mhm.
Um, that sets the tone for everything for me. If the other people are secondary in my mind, it's like when you watch a soap, you're
Mhm.
gonna always have Victor Newman up close to,
Right.
for Young
Right.
and the Restless. He
Right.
is that the man, and
Uh-huh.
everything else is part of his orbit,
Right.
And so, yes, there's some interchanging and this and that and other, but at the end of the day, how's Victor doing? What's he doing? Okay. And it's
Right.
the same,
Right.
Vicky and Victor. So it's the same with Terry and Sonia.
Mhm.
All this other stuff is cool,
You
but
said
what are they
cool.
doing? How is their love?
You get to see it.
How did they age?
Yeah.
What are they doing? How are they maturing into these 40-year-olds
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
or maybe 50-year-olds? How are they,
Yeah.
not just what they're doing with their kids,
Mhm.
but what are they doing in their relationship? How is
Mhm.
that evolving? And
Mhm.
so after all the trauma that they've experienced, you know, how is this love really um just being manifested
Mhm.
every day over time,
Mhm.
you know, without all the major trauma. Maybe the trauma happens to everybody else's lives,
Oh
and
my
they,
god.
of course, these are the people that they love and cherish. I get it,
Yeah.
but daggone, you know, they need to have some time where they not having all this trauma just between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
their trauma between the two of them is done.
good, good.
But it's the people around them that might have trauma, I'll say.
Right. Right, which is fine as long as their love continues. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
they're fine. Once
yeah,
they get to once they get to their happily ever after, it'll
yeah,
be happily ever after, and that just evolves.
yeah.
That'll evolve to their old ladies. You
Okay.
know, yeah.
Well, I'm definitely in favor of the rewrites.
Mhm.
I think the way the series is laid out now is very chronological and
Mhm.
it makes sense.
Mhm.
We are definitely seeing a difference in those that we call lovers and those that we call soulmates.
Mhm.
We get to see that dynamic a lot clearer
Mhm.
than we did in the previous release of those books.
Mhm.
And so I'm personally very excited about that.
Mhm.
Um, I'm excited that Terry is learning to draw a line in the sand when it comes to Aaron,
Mhm.
because she has been like the Wicked Witch of the East in my mind. I just, she is one of my least favorite characters,
Wow.
because she did not honor the relationships with others. But
Mhm.
hey, that's neither here nor there. I have an issue with Ted as well. But I do like how Terry set some boundaries.
Mhm.
And you get to see that, yes, Sonia is her person, but she doesn't share that with someone else, that
Mhm.
she really is my person. And
Mhm.
yeah, I've done these other things, but when it comes to her,
Mhm.
she is the most important person in my life,
Mhm.
period. And I think we get to see that a lot more clearer in the rewrite than we did in the first release.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, it's if you're a fan of the series, then you will see these changes, and hopefully you'll be like, yeah, yeah, this makes sense. I get it now. I totally, of all the books, of course, I love Stranger, because Stranger, we get to see a different Terry.
Mhm.
We get to see um, that soulmate.
Mhm.
When you don't understand it, you might not even want to acknowledge it, but there's something inside you that says, yeah, this is the person.
Mhm.
Even when you don't understand it, this is
Mhm.
it. and we get to see that evolution. And of course it's hot too. It's very erotic. It is very hot, and I just enjoy it the most of all the books so far. All the rewrites,
Mhm.
definitely.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So that's it for me, definitely. Um, I'm interested in seeing uh Freddie. I know that he was involved in, you call it the super club. Is it the super club or is it a supper club?
It's a supper club.
Okay. Um, now that it's built,
Mm-hmm.
what next for Joyce and Freddie? Is Joyce still part of T&E?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Hmm.
Anne still part of T&E?
No,
Or
we'll get to see definitely Anne hang over the reins to Philip. You know, Raven's husband, Philip, he's
yes,
making a transition as he's going to be managing the law portion of T&E.
got it.
Yeah, so she's definitely going to be handing over the reins because she's kind of been semi-retired. She's still
Okay,
been helping out T&E, but Philip is going to come in. She's going to be training him for about 6 months, and then he's going to take over at
okay,
T&E because they're having a baby, and so he wants to be able to work from home more, to be home with Raven. And
okay,
so Joyce is really enjoying the grandkids. So she's fully retired. She fully
okay,
retired. They all still sit on the board, so they're still board members. So they're
got it.
involved that way. But she's just really enjoying Terry and Sonia and the grandkids. So she's done. She
Okay,
help she'll help them if they need it, but nah, Joyce is just enjoying her family. Freddie's the one who's involved with the supper club, with the staff. I mean, he doesn't do it all the time, but that just gave him something to focus on. But then he has fun with the boys when they go on their little boys trip, like once a quarter it seems like now, but they all seem to love it.
okay,
So we'll get
right.
to see we'll get to see one of their boys trips. So what they do.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about people in their 70s. We're talking about young people.
Yeah.
Because if Sonia and Terry are in their 30s,
Late
then
30s.
Terry's parents are in their 50s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
At 50,
they're in their 60s.
well,
Well,
they had
Terry's
her when they was
parents and
15.
Ann and CJ are in their 50s, but
Right.
Joyce and Freddie are in their 60s.
And 60s is still young.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it seems to me that Freddie, being a man, would want to do more than just plan a boys trip
No,
or
he's
spend.
working in the super club. So he helped design and build the super club, and now he kind of manages the staff in the restaurant part of it. So
Got
that's
it.
what he does. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and he takes Zoe on the weekends to watch, so she can watch him. Manage the brunch because there's brunch on Saturday and Sunday. So it's a different menu and everything. So yeah, that's
Hmm.
what Freddie's doing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I got it.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's for men need to feel productive, and I just couldn't see where he would feel productive just babysitting,
Right.
just spending time with
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
He
So
would
he
need
was
something else.
he was wallowing for a little while, and you could kind
Hmm.
of see it. And so with this supper club, that kind of regenerated him, and
Sure.
now he's happy, definitely happy working with baby Zoe like he worked with Terry. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And he's able to contribute based upon his expertise.
Right.
And we're not talking about a little hole in the wall. We're talking
No.
about a
No.
really high class, elite kind of
Multiple
supper
stage.
club
Yeah. Yeah.
where they can attract, not just amateur talent, but they are able to get A-listers to come
Right.
in.
Right. Oh
So
yeah. They're it's a well sought after super club because they have concerts and they do have amateur night, but that's only on Thursdays.
mhm,
Friday, Saturday, Sundays is when the real artists come and
mhm.
do their thing. But they still got to audition too. Cause
But that's kind of a throwback from when I was a kid. There were lots of supper clubs in the Detroit area,
yeah,
in Detroit, in and around Detroit,
yeah,
and I've seen some great artists perform while I'm eating dinner and having
yeah.
drinks.
Yep.
And
That's the
so that's
idea.
kind of that's kind of a throwback because in these days we don't see a lot of that intimacy with the
And it's
audience.
needed. It's
Well,
needed.
there is a one venue where that happens. It's called
Mhm.
City Wineries,
Mhm.
and they have lots of city wineries around the country.
Mhm.
And so you have that intimate environment then. But
Mhm.
otherwise, we don't have those nice little venues anymore.
Right.
I mean, you do like for blues clubs, you have the
Yeah.
House of Blues.
Yeah.
There's some reggae clubs around, but for the
Mhm.
most part,
Mhm.
it's kind of like a dinosaur as a relic.
Right. Right.
So it
And
was
I
kind of
I
nice to see
enjoy
that come back.
going to stuff like that. So
Hmm.
in my
Yeah, me too. I
20s.
like to see my artists up close and personal.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember when Jill Scott first came out, me and my husband seen her in San Francisco. It was like a little hole in the wall. And she
hmm.
was singing singing her song. And that's when I
Right?
met her. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
it's
I
very.
kind of miss those days.
I do too. I miss when the artist would reach out to the fans,
Right.
instead of, everything happening at a distance. When the whole video movement started happening, there were less and less touring of
Mhm.
artists,
Mhm.
and they relied on music videos
Right.
to market themselves.
Right.
And so that live performance has been lost.
Right.
So it's kind of nice to see it coming back because the reality is a whole lot of these young people can't sing. It's auto tune. And I'm not interested in seeing anybody being auto tune. If you
Mm.
can sing, sing. If you can't,
Mhm.
hey, it's
Damn.
not my thing. It's just not my thing. Okay. I don't want auto tune music. It's
Mm.
just not what I like and
Okay.
what I enjoy.
Mhm.
So to see real singers have a platform,
Yeah.
despite how they look, they don't have
Mhm.
to have all this work done.
Right.
They can just get on stage and sing and perform and
Sing and
have an
perform.
audience that appreciates that.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's what you see in the supper club.
yeah.
So
That'll be fun.
I'm excited to write about that. So there'll be different artists and some
Hmm.
of them suck, so you'll see them react to that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's not like if they do suck, CJ will pull them aside and give them pointers. So he'll just say, "It's a no now, but this is what you can do." And I
Hmm.
do. He may even, if he sees potential in them, if he sees their grind, he may have like a mentoring portion of
Right.
any. So we'll
Sure.
we'll see. That's why I kind of want to do a series on their own for the supper club because we'll get to see how
Hmm.
it evolves and with the different artists.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. Very interesting. Because again, we want to see the evolution of it. But if these people are true artists, not only do they want a platform in which to practice their craft, but they are interested in seeing others
Right.
come into their own
Right.
and creating a platform for them to do that as well.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
like in the old days.
Velvet Voices are excited because of the supper club. They just got back off a tour, but now they get to be one of the headline artists,
Hmm.
so they're pretty excited. And
Yeah,
Terry's old band became the house band because they're a little older now, but they're the house band, so they play for all of the artists. So they're
nice.
pretty excited that they got pulled into the fold of T&E.
And have a steady job, have a
Yeah,
steady
have a
paycheck.
steady paycheck. Yeah,
Right, because
definitely.
once an artist, always an artist, so you're
Right.
always looking for ways to do that, and that's still reminiscent of the old days.
Mhm.
A lot of them, growing up in Detroit, a lot of the, Motown, studio or session musicians also performed in a lot of the jazz clubs around town or some of the
Mhm.
blues clubs around town. So
Mhm.
they had a steady job with being session musicians, but they also got to perform as part of these house bands
Mhm.
for places like the 20 Grand
Mhm.
and the Phelps Lounge
Mhm.
and others around the
Mhm.
city. So yeah, that's kind of a throwback thing as well. Hmm.
Okay.
Which I'm for it. I'm for it.
Okay.
I'm for all the good music. And when you combine the music and the food, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely love stuff like that. Definitely. I
Hmm.
remember when I was in Vegas and we went to the House of Blues, it was just amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be an A-lister because
Right.
sometimes seeing a
Right.
person before they become an A-lister is
Exactly.
great.
That's
Great.
why they have the amateur night. So
You
yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
remember seeing Billy Paul perform before he was Billy Paul.
Mhm.
Um, and this was probably the late 60s. My mother was part of a performance group
Mm.
that would write and perform their own plays.
Mhm.
They called themselves the New African Players, and he
Mhm.
would open for them.
Mm. Okay.
Right, right. This is before me and Mrs. Jones.
Mhm.
This is way back.
Mhm.
So, but you as a musician, you're not just an instant success. Typically,
Mhm.
you paid your dues
Yeah.
by coming up through the ranks
Yeah.
and performing in smaller venues and getting your name out there and then you get this quote unquote big break. But no one sees all the work you've put on
Right.
before the
They
big
don't see
break.
the grind. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
mhm. Yep, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I'm excited to write about that because I've always been interested in music.
Mhm.
I just can't sing, but I've always interested
Yeah.
in, being writing I wanted to
Mhm.
write music when I was younger. So that never really took off. But now just having the ability to delve into something that I really enjoy in my
Mhm.
villas is exciting.
Yeah, and the music industry has shifted.
Yeah.
There was a time when none of the musicians literally, unless they were in a band, unless they played,
Hmm.
they didn't necessarily write their own songs.
Right.
They had staff writers.
Right.
So you had people like Holland Dozier Holland that wrote for the Supremes,
Hmm.
and you would have Tony Hester. He wrote for the Dramatics,
Hmm.
and with Philly, you would have um what's those guys' name? Uh Gamble and Huff
Hmm.
would write for the OJs,
Hmm.
and Linda Creed and Tom Bell would write for the Stylistics and the
Hmm.
Spinners. And so Linda Creed was an awesome lyricist,
Hmm.
just amazing. And Tom
Hmm.
Bell was an awesome producer arranger.
Hmm.
But she would write songs that no one knew she wrote, like The Greatest Love of All,
Hmm.
you know. And Whitney Houston called her to thank her for that song because it was
Hmm.
one of her number one hits.
Hmm.
And it was about a week before she died. You
Wow.
know, she died of breast cancer in her 30s.
Mhm.
But she had did all of these amazing songs, Betcha by Golly, Wow, Stop, Look, Listen, and on and on and on. I mean, she was amazing. And so, Tom Bell is the same way, coming from the Bahamas, as an immigrant. And he was just a super, super producer. And of course, keyboardist and arranger.
Mhm.
And when he passed last year, I believe it was, my daughter was like, "Well, who is that?" I said, "He wrote the soundtrack of my life. I need a moment."
Mm.
Because she kept saying, "Who is it? Who is?" I said, "I need a moment.
Mhm.
This man wrote the soundtrack of my life."
Wow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I need a moment. And most people didn't know who he was because he was behind the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the best songs in the world he produced and arranged.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that
so,
that's the CJ. That's
and
what CJ. He's
sure.
he's very gifted, and so Terry is like that too. So you'll start to
Yeah.
see them. He does write music for like Velvet Voices
Hmm.
and you'll get to know that because they don't write their own music, not yet. But Charlotte wants to, so she's
Hmm.
learning. But yeah, they don't write their own music.
And that's the kids, the young people today. They are almost forced into a lyricist role.
Right.
They sit down and they write lyrics to quote unquote beats. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, you don't have all of this instrumentalized music the way you did,
Yeah.
with the orchestration and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
They're performing to beats.
Yeah.
Unless you're old school, like this kid out of New Orleans with the round glasses. I can't remember his name, but he's kind of a throwback
Mm-hmm.
from the way it was before. Morton is PJ Morton.
PJ Morton. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, he's kind of a throwback. And it's cool because when you get those writing credits,
Mm-hmm.
even after the song stops selling, every time you play it, you're
Yeah.
gonna get those royalties
Those
because you wrote it.
royalties. Yes, ma'am.
And
You get
so,
those
it becomes a good revenue stream.
yeah, that's why he's filthy.
Yeah,
He's
right,
filthy rich. Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
right.
but yeah, you'll get to see that. Haley is gonna be she's gonna be a little lyricist. That's what she's learning with Terry and CJ. So they're
Hmm.
teaching her how to do it. So
Okay.
yeah, so we'll see them, but they'll get to see they'll get to hire more writers too through the supper club. So a lot of artists and a lot of writers are going to come through there because now it's a hot it's a
Yeah.
hot thing out in San Diego. So yeah,
But
people
is
are
it
coming.
is it connected to T&E,
Yeah,
the entertainment part of it?
it's connected to T&E's entertainment part. Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
And so are they still doing any construction?
Yeah, there's a construction part of TNE. So there's
Right.
different parts of TNE. So there's still a construction part. So you'll see
Okay.
that through Dan, because Dan and Michelle like to go to the supper club, but you'll see the construction part of T.
Okay.
Yeah, because I kind of touched on that on the villa that Dan was away a lot because of the construction of the super club. So we'll start to see that. So
Okay.
through
Okay.
Michelle, and you'll get to see Michelle more. One of Sonia's co-workers that performed in the pilot program way back in Stranger. So
Okay.
yeah, she married Dan and adopted Ricky, who's 50.
Ah,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. So we'll start to see her. She's going on the trip to North Carolina with the girls.
Okay. Okay. All right. And they're taking the baby, so
Yeah.
the little Johnny will be the only little boy,
Mm.
or there
Yeah,
are
the
other
only
babies.
baby. Yeah, they didn't invite the new moms.
Okay.
So they didn't want their parents responsible for uh other people's babies, I'll just say.
Ah, okay, that
Yeah,
makes
because it's
sense.
kind of like a family trip for the girls, and so that's why they're bringing the baby because all the moms are coming.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Okay. And I take it that they have redid the family home in North
Yeah,
Carolina.
yeah, it's a mansion now. They
Okay.
redid it, and they have a guest house as well. So, cause their family is growing, and so their little tribe, they need all them rooms.
Right. When
So
they
they did rebuild that. So we'll get to see that in the Christmas villa
okay.
when
Okay,
they
because
go to North.
we already have what, 19 episodes so far?
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
it's it's gonna go well past New Year's because I still
Uh,
got
okay.
we'll get to we I still gotta touch on them going to North Carolina, them going to London, the Christmas You know, the Christmas celebration, the Christmas decorations, the Christmas concert, Sonia's birthday.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
Yeah,
it's going to be probably twice as many episodes as we have now.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That'll be
and
fun.
then when that ends, the T&E Super Club series will come out. So we'll get to see, because I might not touch on the Super Club this series. I mean, I will. I'll do all 7 days. I'll have events, so we'll get to see them. But that's probably all I'll do. And so then on the Supper Club series, you'll get to see, the artists
Mhm.
come in and stuff like that.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Sounds good. Yep. Sounds real good. Huh. Gives me something to look forward to. That's for sure. Yep.
Great, great. So
Uh-huh.
you do like the Christmas Villa season
Uh,
2.
I enjoy seeing the family back.
Mhm,
They're for me. It's like lost friends are back.
mm, mhm.
You know, they've been such an integral part of my life for the last few years. They feel like family, and
Oh, okay,
to see them back has been very. It's been fun.
okay.
Yeah. So as long as there's no major traumas happening, I'm good.
No, not
Um,
during the Christmas series,
I'm
not during the
glad.
Valentines, not during those series, no. But
Yeah,
the
I'm
medical
glad.
mysteries, I can't promise anything.
Yeah. Well, as long as the main characters, like I said, as long as the nucleus is fine, it things happening in the orbit is okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So as
Yeah.
long as Terry and Sonia are
They're
good,
done. They're done with their trauma. The dark cloud kind of ended their trauma. So
good. I'm
yeah,
glad.
they're 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 good. Now for the
Hmm.
people around them, not
Yeah.
so much. No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have my favorites of the people around
Who's
them.
your favorites?
Um, I like um Kai and Ayana.
Mhm.
Those they're my favorites. I like Grace.
Mhm.
I'm not a big Mike fan, but I do like Grace. And Laura.
Mhm. Well,
And of course,
Laura's married to Mike,
I know, but I
and
like
they have
Laura.
baby Micah.
Okay, yeah. I'm not a big Mike fan, particularly how, he was hugging up on Terry in the Stranger series, and Laura sitting right there. That was disrespectful.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. Um, I definitely love the parents. I love Joyce and Freddie
Mhm.
more the most next to Granny. So
Okay.
Granny's my favorite of the parents or
Mhm.
grandparents. Then Joyce and Freddie.
Mhm.
CJ and Ann, I didn't like the way they tried to diss Sonia in the Stranger series, so they're not
Mm.
my favorites.
Okay.
Um, but the rewrite, we get to see a little bit more where of Sonia stepping up
Mhm.
and not allowing them to railroad her. So
Mhm.
I love that part. But no, the way they treated Sonia, tried to put her on the background in favor of developing this relationship with Faux Terry or False Terry,
Mhm.
they're not my favorites. But I definitely love Joyce and Freddie and
Mhm.
Granny
And Granny.
and Granny.
You
I
don't like
don't.
Sonia's dad, Jonathan?
I do, but I don't see enough of them.
Oh, okay.
Miriam, quite the homophobe when she was younger.
She evolved.
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
quite a she's quite a loving mom now. So
yeah, but it took long enough. You took this,
yeah, well,
this girl, being well into her 20s before she
yeah,
came along.
yeah.
And the dad, I just didn't see enough of him.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have a gauge of his personality
Mhm.
other than that's her dad, and
Mhm.
he accepted her the way he was, the
Mhm.
way she was.
Mhm.
Granny, you see a lot more of her personality because
Mhm.
that's who Sonia turned to when she
Right.
needed to talk through some things. She knew that she had her unconditional love.
Yeah.
Okay, so she turned to her grandmother and you don't see her turning to her dad.
Right.
So you don't see a lot of his personality.
Right. Okay.
Hmm So, um, so I can't really talk about them as my favorites.
Okay.
But Granny and Joyce and Freddie are definitely my favorites when it comes to the parents. And then the friend group, of course,
You like the
Laura,
friend group?
Grace. Those are my favorites.
Okay.
Because they always had, even though they were Terry's friends, they had Sonia's back.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do anything to pull them apart.
Right.
They were supportive,
Mm-hmm.
and maintained their relationship with Terry in the peripheral, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, they supported Sonia.
Yeah.
And that's what good friends will do.
Yeah.
They don't build fires, they
Right.
build bridges.
Right. Right.
Hmm
Right.
So, yes, ma'am.
What do you think about Terry getting close to Nyash and Raven during the gymnastic sessions with Aiden and Tommy?
um, I think she and Nyesha were close anyway because they
Yeah.
did the bistro menu, the healthy
Mm-hmm.
menu,
Mm-hmm.
and Nyesha trained Terry
Mm-hmm.
so that she could be more in shape for touring and all of that. So we saw their relationship or their friendship blossom
Mm-hmm.
during the New York time
Mm-hmm.
before the incident, as we'll call it. Um, Now, Raven, that's different. I didn't see much of their relationship prior to, so that's a new friendship that we'll get
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah.
But
It's
the Nyesha friendship, it's good to see her partnered.
right.
She and Sean are together.
Yep. And have a
Um,
little boy.
yeah, yeah. So we get to see the two of them together in a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of Raven, that one's new.
Yeah.
That one kind of caught me by surprise.
Dr. Brooks, because she's
Yeah.
Dana's sister.
Right. She was the sister of, what was her sister's name? Because she
Dana.
liked Sonia.
Dana.
Yeah.
Dana.
Right.
So she's Dana's sister.
Right.
And she was Sonia and Terry's psychologist.
Correct. I remember that. And then Dana hooked up with someone else.
Isabella. Yeah.
Is a right,
Yeah.
right. Izzy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
had
So,
and they had the baby Willow. Willow was going on the North Carolina trip.
oh, nice.
Because Willow and Zoe are best friends. Well, as little kids can be.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but they spend a lot of time together.
Now, did Erin, she has one or two
Lily,
kids?
she has two.
Okay.
She
A
has
boy and a girl.
a boy and a girl, and Lily's going on the North Carolina trip. So is Aaron.
Erin's going to, oh yeah, she's going on the trip. But what
Yeah,
about her little boy? What's his name again?
I
Is
should
he
know this. Hold on, let me pull.
is is he hanging up with the he's hanging out with the dads?
Yeah, he's hanging out with the dads.
Okay, so Ted is going with the dad's trip.
No, he's got to work. Ted,
So
don't-
the
Ted doesn't really get. He's not really involved with the friends for some people. Don't like Ted.
I told you he ain't my favorite. I hate what he did. That's snake stuff. He was a snake in the grass. I couldn't stand him. You know, and Aaron too. She's not
Aaron,
my favorite either.
Aaron's one of my favorite. She's one of my favorite.
I'm so glad Terry had to check her. She checked her as faux Terry, and then she checked her in the Dark Cloud series. So I was like, yeah, go Terry.
Sammy. You know,
Sammy, that's what it is.
Sammy and Aiden don't get along, but you'll get to
Yeah,
see why. And then they kind of made up because they're both interested in medicine. So they'll
yeah,
bond over that, but something happened, and that's the reason why Aiden didn't like Sammy for a while. But they kind of make up during this boys trip.
Yeah, I think that didn't we talk about that in one of the Bellas? Uh,
We never talked about why they don't like each other,
no, we didn't say why,
but
but
we'll get to
they
see
weren't
why.
that tight.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no. But Sammy does hang out with the boys. Like it's Petey, Tommy, Sammy, Mikey, and Aiden. Those are the kids that go on the boys trip. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
all the kids. And the dads that are going are CJ, Freddie, Jonathan, and Ethan.
Okay.
The twins
So
is
the grandfathers,
the
that
grandfathers.
no dad.
The dad, Ethan, is the twins' dads. You know,
Ethan,
Ethan, Elizabeth and Ethan are Ayana's sisters.
right?
Ayana's parents.
But they still they grandfathers.
Well,
He They're the
Ayana don't have
grandfather
no
age,
kids.
right? But if she did, they would
Yeah,
be the
the
grandfather's
grandfathers,
age. So
basically the
there's no
grandfather.
daddies going like Sean.
No, he got to work. Him and Ted have their own medical building,
Yeah,
so
I
they
know
have their
that.
own medical practice. So he's working.
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
But, well,
Nyasha works in it's kind of like a health center in the medical center on the second
hmm
floor. So she kind of works there doing,
okay.
healthy menus, healthy
Yeah.
health
Nutrition. She's
programs,
doing
nutrition.
nutrition
Yeah, she's doing nutrition. So she's
and
doing that.
fitness.
Yeah, and fitness, definitely. So she has
hmm
programs that she's doing, but she's taken off to go to the North Carolina trip.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
think the fathers would want to as well, particularly since it's near Christmas.
yeah, but they're going to be gone for a week. So,
That's nothing.
yeah,
That's nothing. When you're a
yeah,
doctor, you can move your appointments around. You can
that's
move
true.
whatever
But
surgeries around.
they weren't invited.
Ah, okay.
It's the grandfathers,
So
like
just
you
the
said.
grandpas are going.
It's the older men. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we'll see Sean and Ted at the supper club. Like they like to go to the events. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
yeah,
And hopefully, there be a big Christmas celebration
yeah. There
when
will,
everybody comes together?
yeah, there will be after
Okay.
the trip.
Okay. The trips, period. The
Huh?
two trips.
Yeah, the two trips. Like the
Mhm.
trips are gonna be in the Villa World next week. So we'll see the boys trip and we'll see the North Carolina trip. And then 2 weeks later we'll see them go to Catalina for Sonia's birthday. And then they'll come back on like Christmas Eve. So we'll see the big celebration on Christmas Eve.
But we're not going to see their little weekend trip that they're taking.
Yeah,
Like,
but we'll see that. That's coming up.
okay,
First we got to see the Thursday performance, then we got to see the Friday Terry and them perform, and then they sail. So yeah,
right, right.
yeah, we'll get to see. They're gonna sail down to Monterey.
Okay. And
Yeah,
Ed and Maya are still in the New York area.
yeah, we'll get to see them if they go to New York. They'll go to New York in the Supper Club series. So she's
Ah,
gonna
okay.
take Haley and Piper to New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll be fun to see them. And so Pete is in San Diego and we got this new guy.
No, Pete is in New York with Ed.
Okay.
We
So
have
we have a new
Maxwell.
guy.
We have kind of like a new team because Maxwell took over, but Maxwell still works with Ed, but they're just in San Diego.
Got it. So it has to be more than just Maxwell because you
Yeah,
have CJ that
yeah,
needs protecting.
we'll see that. We'll see. Well, we really see Terry's security. I
Right.
did put. I don't know if I released that yet, but where somebody took over for Maxwell at night, and so Terry went over to her parents so early. The second guy had to go with her, and she brought him coffee.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so we'll
Okay.
get to see that. Yeah,
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Cool beans. hmm Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
So we're on the right track. We're back and the train is moving.
Yeah, we took a pit stop, but yeah, we're
Yep.
back.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
back.
glad about it. Like I said, they feel like family.
Oh
Some
my
old
goodness.
friends have come back into my life.
And
Yep.
new ones are coming up.
They're part of the orbit. They really don't
Yeah.
matter.
They do matter. Charlotte and Jazz are hooking up. You
Man,
don't care.
Sonia and Terry, that's all that matters to me. The other people are just, ancillary folk that just
Oh my
coming in and out of the
goodness.
picture.
Oh
The
my
the
goodness.
orbit, they orbit Terry and Sonia. They are the
Yeah.
nucleus.
Hmm.
And everything else is just a part of the orbit. And
Hmm.
it's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I like seeing them.
Oh my goodness. We can't
Yep.
always see them.
It, them and their love story
Hmm.
and their excursions,
Hmm.
and, conversations about their kids and their
Hmm.
parents and just all of that.
Yeah.
And their friends.
And their friends.
Right. And who's single now? Who's left?
Nobody. Nobody.
Okay.
Bradley was married to Medicine. So you'll get to see that in the next episode where we get to meet Bradley's girlfriend. You remember Bradley back in the books, back in
Yes.
the origin series. That's when
Yes.
we first met him. And so he came to Trinity to fill in for Sonia when she went on maternity leave. Remember?
Right. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. You
When
know
the twins were born.
who I miss is the couple, the one guy who married the girl from Africa. You remember in the Alex in that
Oh, Kevin,
book.
Kevin,
Y-
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Kevin and them. They're in L.A.
Yeah.
I don't. I might address the L.A. folks if they go to L.A. to perform or something.
Okay. Yeah, that was good to have them. And Savers, is she still with Ted's daddy?
Yeah, they're married.
Oh, they're married now.
Yeah, they're married. Yeah,
Okay.
Dr. Savior still works at Trinity, and she works with the doctors from Medical Mysteries because sometimes she refers them. So
Okay.
they do cases for Trinity sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
she's gonna retire pretty soon in a couple of years. So we'll see.
Yeah, I would think so. And she never had children, did she?
No,
Okay.
no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always enjoyed seeing her. So I think that's about it. I think we've pretty much covered everybody.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Pete never hooked up with anybody, did he?
We'll see that later.
Oh Lord. Okay. And Ed's best friend, not Ed's best friend, it was Freddie's best friend.
Craig and Denise.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
get to see them when Terry and them fly out to New York.
Okay.
But
Okay.
not in the Christmas villa, but maybe in the Valentine's villa.
Oh, okay.
If I
Okay.
if I write a Valentine's
Okay. All right.
but
Fantastic.
we'll eventually get to see them, Craig and Denise, because Craig works with Ed, so they got their
Right.
own company with Maya. So we'll
Sure.
get to see that, you know,
Okay. Okay.
in the thriller series that I'm working on. So
Okay.
yeah,
Fantastic. Fantastic.
yeah,
All right. That does it.
yeah. think we think we covered all of the upcoming projects
Yes. Yes, we did.
and the characters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
well
Yep.
well, I thank you for your help and your time. It's always enjoyable speaking with you. Have a
Yes,
happy
ma'am.
new year.
Uh-oh. Happy New Year. Keep writing. Okay. Keep it going.
I'm